Do not move to South Florida unless you can handle these 6 negatives. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name's Rob Zeoli, and I'm a real estate agent right down here in South Florida. And there are some things that you need to know about and need to consider before moving here to South Florida, and they just might change your mind about moving here, starting out with allergies. Now, I'm going through it right now. Allergies are pretty bad, and I actually did not know this. I did some research, and if you have allergies, you're in for kind of a tough time. Allergy season here in Florida is 10 months out of the year. 10. So you only have 2 months of a break. So obviously spring is the worst time for allergies pretty much anywhere because things are growing and sprouting and stuff like that. But here in Florida, when things are warm most of the year, we have stuff growing all the time. So again, you don't get much of a break when it comes to allergies. Also, dust is another huge factor. If dust bothers you, here in Florida, you don't, or at least I don't, in South Florida, open my windows very often. Now, I'm thinking back to when I lived in New York. Even I lived in California for well over a decade. I always used to open my windows, but here in South Florida, I always have the air conditioning on. It's very, very rare that I don't have the air conditioning running, and I think most people are like that. But you tend not to open your windows, obviously, when it's very hot, but just to get some fresh air. So I think dust, we get a lot more dust inside because you don't have any fresh air coming through. So another thing that contributes to the allergies. So if you have allergies, you're going to have a bit of a tough time, and you're going to have to adjust to it here, I guess, throughout the state of Florida. But in South Florida, pretty bad when it comes to allergies. Now, the second thing has got to be the wildlife. So there's 2 recent stories that I just saw. One of them is right here where I live in the city of Plantation. Not too far from me, some lady's dog was almost taken by an alligator. Luckily, I think she was able to wrestle the dog back from the gator. Now, the gator was able to, I think, tunnel under a fence. So I get this question all the time: do I have to worry about gators here in South Florida? And the question is yes. It's not something that you're always going to see them in the street and stuff like that. But if you live anywhere near a body of water, I don't care if it's a canal, a lake, a drainage pit, whatever you want to call it, all of them are connected underground. It is the way that they control our stormwater here in South Florida, is by having these, whatever you want to call them, drainage, ditches, canals. They're all connected, and they lower and raise the locks, they call them, or levees, to control the water depending on the amount of rain. So even if you have a pond or a lake, whatever you want to call it, and it doesn't look like it connects to something else, it is connected most likely underground. There is always a chance that there is a gator. So if you have pets, absolutely make sure that you're careful next to any body of water. There was another story a couple of years ago when a woman was actually, same thing with a dog. She was in a park actually, and she actually died. The alligator grabbed her dog. She went to trying to protect it. It pulled her in and drowned her. So be careful with the gators. We also have to deal with all the other stuff like mosquitoes and spiders, poisonous spiders, snakes, palmetto bugs, which are big, huge, giant roaches, stuff like that. So you're going to have to get used to the wildlife if you live anywhere here in the state of Florida. Number 3, I'm going to go with congestion and traffic, because it is getting just out of hand on a major scale. So with all the people moving here, influx of people moving into South Florida and having no place to put them, they are just building everywhere. So not houses, I'm talking about complexes, rental complexes, condos. We have really no place or no space to build single-family homes. We do, but not much. Maybe a couple of little neighborhoods here and there, up in Parkland, Palm Beach, somewhere, but not really here in Fort Lauderdale. So we're having a lot of construction going on. A lot of them are rental complexes, but the congestion, just the traffic is out of hand on a major scale. So add into that the drivers. Oh my God, the drivers are just out of control. worse than ever. We've always had horrible, terrible drivers here in the state of Florida, but now with all these new people coming in and more traffic, more congestion, a lot of these new residents don't know where they're going. Add that to the tourists, to the seniors, to the college students, and it's just at an all-time frustration level. So congestion and traffic, absolutely something you're going to have to learn to deal with when living here in Florida. Another thing you're going to have to get used to is the lack of seasons. Now, people don't really think about this too often, but you know, if you come from an area where you have 4 seasons a year, you know, it takes a little bit of getting used to here in Florida because we only have really summer and winter, if you want to call it a winter. So we have our summer period and our hurricane period when it's very hot, very rainy. And then we have our beautiful winter weather, which is in the mid 70s, probably the best weather or one of the best places for weather in the country when it's not very humid. But during the summer, very, very hot, very, very humid, takes a lot of getting used to, but that's really it. Sometimes I think, oh, I wish I was able to have a winter or some snow, open my windows and things like that. But, you know, that feeling goes away pretty quickly, especially if you visit an area that has some snow or it's bitter, bitter cold. But, you know, sometimes it is nice to have that little bit of a break. But here in Florida, you don't have that. We have, you know, the summer, we have our winter, so really just 2 seasons, not the normal 4, and you're gonna have to definitely get used to that when living here in Florida. Now, the 5th thing has got to be running into people with different opinions, and really kind of keep your opinion to yourself, and that's really how we like it down here, or the people like it down here in Florida, because there's a very, very diverse state. If you watch the news, you know, you might hear stuff like Florida is this crazy right-wing, whatever they want to call it, but that's not really the case. We're very, very split, or very even, you know, blue and red, if you want to talk politics. So a lot of differing opinions. A lot of people that live here are not from Florida. They're not native to Florida. So people from all over the place, and which makes our area, our culture very, very diverse. And a lot of people have different opinions. Now, if you want to go and seek these opinions out, all you got to do is jump on social media and you can see all of them. So that to me is like the toilet, social media, in my opinion. People go there and very easy to give your opinion when you're behind a keyboard and all that type of stuff. But, you know, it is what it is. That's where you hear a lot of this stuff. But out in public, you don't really see many people voicing their opinions, which is really, really what's nice about living here in Florida is that it's a very, very diverse place, but you don't really know what anybody's thinking because you don't really see people out there in your face telling you what to do. We have our freedom, and that's how people like it down here. So the 6th thing is people being unfriendly. And I wasn't actually going to include this, but I went on a walk a couple of nights ago, right in my neighborhood where I live, and this was at night, probably 9 o'clock. And I'm walking through my neighborhood, and I actually passed, I think it was 3 different groups of people. 2 were a couple, and I think there was like 3 in the other group. So whenever I pass somebody, I mean, if someone is within 20 feet of you, kind of, and, you know, unless you're in a huge crowd, I mean, I normally make eye contact and say hello. That's just, I don't know, that's just the way that I am, even in the supermarket or wherever it is. You know, if you're walking down a hallway or an aisle, if you're walking past a person and you pass them, you hello, hi, you shake your head and you say hi. So I walk by these people and I pass the first group and I kind of look over to them and waiting to make eye contact, and I raise my hand to wave, and they don't even look up. And I was like, okay, so I passed them. Then I go down and I'm walking again, and I actually passed another group. The same thing happened, okay? And then I went, another group passed, and I did the same thing, and I started feeling stupid. I'm like, I feel uncomfortable. I'm kind of looking over at this group of people, waiting for them to make eye contact with me to say hello, and I'm sitting there with my hand up. Like, you ever stick your hand out to shake someone's hand and they don't acknowledge it? So it's very, very weird, you know, very strange. And then I actually passed the first group that I passed, and they did it again the second time. which is really, really strange to me. So I don't understand exactly what that is all about. Now, one thing I do remember is that since I've moved here from New York, I've heard some people mention that New Yorkers are not very friendly, and I call BS on that, because I lived in New York, I've lived in California for over a decade, and I live here in Florida, and I be honest with you, I don't think there's any difference. I don't remember people in New York being snobby at all, and that stereotype is just, drives me crazy. This was years ago, before the world was consumed with politics, and also in California, but being here in Florida, I've noticed they're not very friendly. So I actually did some research about this topic, and it seems like Florida is one of the most unfriendliest states in the entire country. Okay guys, so thanks for watching this video. Things you're gonna have to handle if you're moving here to the state of Florida. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you ever have any questions about moving here to Florida, any help with real estate or neighborhoods, reach out to me 24/7. All my information is down in the description, and I look forward to helping you, especially with your moves here to the state of Florida, and I'll catch you on the next video. I appreciate you watching. Take care.